This happened several years ago, when I was still in high school. It was during summer vacation, in the middle of July. My parents were celebrating their 20th anniversary, so they left me alone in the house for a week while they went on a retreat to some secluded place hours away. I was an only child, so I was used to house sitting. It wasn't like I was worried about it, though. I knew not to answer the door for strangers, and we had plenty of food. Plus, my parents had a Ring doorbell, which meant we had a camera at the front of the house just in case. I was actually kind of annoyed at the presence of that thing because it meant my parents could easily find out if I brought anybody over without permission. Unfortunately, that meant no parties. But honestly, after the 4th of July weekend, I was done with partying for a while. I looked forward to kicking back, relaxing, and doing nothing for a whole week. The first 3 days at the house were uneventful. All I did was eat, sleep, watch TV, and play video games with my friends online. However, the nights got weird. I had a lot of trouble sleeping. I would toss and turn until sunrise before I finally slept. But whenever it was dark, I was squirming with anxiety. I kept hearing things, like tapping or knocking sounds. I couldn't tell where they were coming from, but I was too freaked out to find out, and not dumb enough to get out of the bed in the middle of the night to go looking for trouble. I tried to ignore it by wearing headphones or playing the TV. Of course, by the 3rd night in a row of it happening, I was starting to get annoyed. On the 4th night, though, this inconvenience morphed into something much worse. I was in the living room watching TV, and the whole day that led up to this moment, nothing made it seem like anything unusual was about to happen. But then, at 1 o'clock in the morning, the Ring camera bell rang. A chill went through me. I was already on edge from what was going on the previous nights, but now there was really somebody at the door. I immediately muted the TV and sat almost completely frozen except for my own pounding heartbeat. I swore to myself that I had to be hearing things, but then it rang again. Panicking, I jumped up and turned off the lights in the TV, but right away I realized the mistake I made. Turning everything off and trying to hide in the silent darkness was no use. Whoever was out there would have definitely heard the TV go silent and clearly see the lights go off, making it obvious that I was inside. I kept thinking over and over again like a crazy person. Why is there someone at my door at 1 a.m.? Who rings the doorbell at 1 a.m.? That's when I finally thought to check the Ring camera through my phone. And what I saw was the most bone-chilling thing I've ever witnessed. There was a psycho at my door dressed as Ronald McDonald the Clown. He was looking straight into the camera. The sight of it alone petrified me. I didn't know whether I should answer him through the doorbell or just call the cops right then and there. But all I ended up doing was watching as he rang the bell again and again and again. He just kept smiling while tilting his head to the side, waving creepily. I couldn't take being on the same level as him anymore, so I bolted upstairs to my bedroom and locked the door. I sat there in the dark, watching him on my phone and hoping to God that he would just leave. But he didn't. He did the opposite. He started talking to me.
I know you're in there. I can hear you. I saw you. I can even almost smell you. You're in there somewhere. And you're all alone, aren't you? Just kidding. I know you are.
The sound of his voice petrified me. I had no idea who he was or what he wanted with me. I was scared out of my mind.
I'm sorry, are you hard of hearing? I said open the door, dipshit!
I was so afraid that I started to cry. I crawled onto the floor of my closet and hid there as the clown continued to torment me. That's when he took his hands out from behind his back and flashed a huge machete in front of the camera.
I know you can hear me, you spoiled little brat. Just open the door and I'll give you a free Big Mac. What do you say, kid? Just open the door, or I'll have to open it myself!
I knew by then that this man was completely psychotic. Suddenly, he raised the machete into the air and pounded it against the door. I heard that awful thud ring out through the entire house, but it wasn't just one. Once he got started, it was like he really couldn't stop himself. I could see the splinters flying off the door onto his face. He was making his way through, and it wouldn't be long. I cursed myself for not calling the cops earlier, as I knew the clown would already be inside. I then forced myself to go to my window and open it up while screaming for help at the top of my lungs, saying,
Help! Somebody! Someone's breaking into my house! Help!
I screamed until I was completely out of breath. Then I checked my phone to see if the clown was still at the door, but he wasn't. There was just a pile of wood chips left in the foyer. Another chill went through me as I realized he could have left, or he could have made his way in. I hid in the closet again and called my parents to tell them what was happening. They started making their way home and notified the police immediately. They told me not to make a sound until the police arrived. All I could do was spend the last several minutes in an absolute hell, just waiting in isolation and total fear. The cops eventually came before long and did their investigation, only to find out that my attacker had fled as soon as I started screaming. The worst part of it was when we checked the Ring doorbell footage from the previous 3 days. We saw that he was there every single night, taunting with the machete, just smiling and waving like a psycho. But what makes this even more disturbing was how I now knew he was the one making the sounds at night. I just don't understand why he did it, and unfortunately, he's never been found. This story was inspired by a disturbing Ring camera video of a man wearing a clown mask while menacingly tormenting someone's home. What makes the footage more unsettling was how the clown had a machete on hand and would tap the owner's camera with it during the middle of the night. The clown has since been at large and unidentified.